Hello, and welcome to a special mental health gaming podcast. There's stuff happening on the internet, and it's to do with video games, and it's called the Steam Nextfest, which is just all the demos. It's a demo disc derby cover special, but in digital form. To help me go over these, I've got a special guest. Always special. It's Stu. How you doing, Stu?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm frequently referred to as special, so yeah, that's just standard.
So, do you know what a PC is, Stu?
I've got an idea, yeah.
Have you ever heard of video games, Stu?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. Right, and there's these things called demonstration titles.
Demonstrations.
Yeah, they shortened it. But to do that, they shortened it down to the word demo. Used to get them on magazines and stuff like that all the time. And then they stopped for a bit because everyone went, no one wants to play demos. And then there's this little company, they're only small, called Valve. And they brought out a system called Steam. And they got bigger and bigger and bigger. And they started doing this thing called a Steam Nextfest, where there's lots of demos. You heard of it?
Yeah, just about, yeah, vaguely.
Played one or two games from it?
Maybe.
Okay. Let's talk. We're just going to talk about some of the games, and we're going to recommend you some games. And maybe, if I actually remember, possibly not, you might need to actually search for them by title. We'll put some links to the Steam store page for you to wishlist them and stuff like that. Because probably by the time you listen to this, the Steam Nextfest will be over for another few weeks. So, give me a game, Stu. Come straight into it. Give me a game. What have you been playing?
Yeah, so the first one that I played is called Nocturnal, and it's a side-scrolling adventure platformer in the vein of, well, it's kind of a mix between the original Prince of Persia, I would say, and something like, Eco, Shadow of the Colossus type thing, because it's very atmospheric. It doesn't muck about, there's a little bit of traversal, but a lot of platforming. What the key thing is it's got this kind of, melancholy atmosphere, a little bit like Eco does. You're going around, you've landed a boat on this island in a sort of, that kind of Greek/medieval setting that you kind of get in Eco, and it's a kind of a dead world type place with all relics and antiquities, and you work your way across this island and you find out really that it's been taken over by like dark spirits, which again, reminiscent of Eco and stuff. And you kind of drive it back by lighting your sword with fire, and like Beric Dondarrion in Game of Thrones. And it uses this as a mechanic because you can't defeat some of the creatures without this fire on your blade, but you have to also light sections of the map up by striking, candles, not candles, candles, that would be funny. No, torches on the wall, and then going back to them to relight your blade because it's on a timer. It sounds very complex, but it's not. You're basically bringing fire around on your blade that can be consumed, and you get upgrades to it as well. So it's a classic kind of action platform adventure, but it has a really, really nice atmosphere, and the physics are great, and the platforming so far has been really excellent. As I say, it has a tinge of Prince of Persia to it, so it kind of, the duration, the distance in the jumps has to be well timed, and you have to be very cautious about dropping too far, and stuff like that. And yeah, it's turned that kind of Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, Last Guardian / Prince of Persia thing into a side-on platforming game that's modern. And yeah, the demo's really, really good, recommended, and I think I'll probably be picking this one up.
It's one I've not actually played, so I'm looking at it now. I'll tell you what, I love the animation.
Lovely. Yes.
Really
yeah, beautiful.
One thing to note, it's from a publisher that's legit, I think, becoming one of the better publishers out there for indie games, and that's Dear Villagers, who recently brought us Four Tales, Soldiers, recompiled The Forgotten City, Ashwalkers, which is pretty good, Ravita, Scourgebringer, The Dungeon of Naheb their Hillbeck or whatever that was away Johnny Unexpected. So they're legitimately becoming a really good publisher, whereas you see a game from them and I think you go, yeah, this could be pretty decent. Because they also did a game that I'm really interested in called Fabledom, which is in the Steam Nextfest as well, which is a laid-back city builder where you've got to do all your settlement trade and everything, diplomacy, all of that lot. But it's just, there's no danger as such, no time limits to everything, and it's meant to be just really, really relaxed. Had a quick go, seen enough, want it. But yeah, Nocturnal, yeah, that does look good. I've just added that to my wish list.
Sweet, yeah, give the demo a try, see if it's your kind of thing. I really, really like it.
Yes, but we do actually want to chat about it. It's similar in vein, I suppose. It's a platformer, but it's a demo of a game that I've not actually decided to play because I already know I'm going to get it day one through the little I've seen of it. And that is called My Mind's Gone Blank because I've built myself up and my Steam page isn't loading properly. It's because I've got a search thing on. Is Planet of Lana. That's the one. Sorry, I've mine went completely back. Planet of Lana. The little bits I've seen of that, the original trailers, day one, I'm in. Thank you very much. Bit limbo with beautiful artwork, and yeah, I mean, bit Studio Ghibli in there. Don't even need to play the demo of that. But if you want to, do, because it does look wonderful, and that's a day one. Stick that on your wish list.
Okay. So what's that about? What actually happens in it?
I don't know. That's the thing. I've just seen the animation and I've seen like the gameplay of it. It's like a platformer. It's like a bit more fast-paced than Limbo, but it definitely has those puzzle elements to it. And that's all I want to know. I don't want to know the story because it looks like there's a story to it. So it's very hard to sort of like say, oh yeah, this is what this is and this is what it's trying to do. It's very cinematic in places, and it's kind of got, I say, it's a Studio Ghibli painted aesthetic to it. And it's just a puzzle platformer. That's all I really know about it. And yeah, just everything I've seen about it, I want it, and I don't want to know any more about it. Don't make me look at it, Stu, to look stuff up.
I won't force you to. I won't do a Clockwork Orange on you, I promise.
No,
not this
I want
time.
It. I don't want to ruin it. What's next from you? Go on.
So the next one is one called Gravity Circuit, and it's a NES-styled, visually NES-styled platform shooter. I think we're getting a theme emerging already. I was going to say before, like, you know, my range of taste is extremely narrow in video games. I don't mind admitting
that'll do.
No, it's not that. It doesn't have to look old, but it's the type of game it has to be. It has to be an arcade style game, really. But yeah, no. So it's like a NES styled visually, but it's like a Mega Man game, but with a few additions. And I was playing Mega Man X the other week, and it looks like that sort of a thing, but with lots of quality of life improvements.
Got a bit Bionic Commando in there.
Bit of Bionic Commando, yeah. It's kind of mixed together a lot of stuff from that era. So you can have, different powers, different weapons in your slots, which give you different abilities that are not just attack abilities. But yeah, what it's done as quality of life is better traversal. So you've got dash move, you've got which you do have in Mega Man games as well, some of them. But you got, like you say, the hook, which is like Bionic Commando, and it looks really good. At the moment it looks great, and I'll probably pick it up, but I'd be interested to see what they do in terms of level design, because that's the make or break with this. Because like Mega Man X, the level design is absolutely superb. It reminded me of Sonic, and that sounds like a strange comparison, but it's that thing of a lot of it is very easy traversal, but the bits that are difficult are also easy once you get to know them. So it's got that fun thing of it's got real good flow. So you flow through the level really nicely until you hit a hard point, and then you learn that hard point, and then the next time you play it, you look like a boss because you're just flying through it. And it's a difficult balance to get, because sometimes these things are either they're too straightforward and they're all about the combat and they're not as much about the platforming, or they're too awkward and they're too difficult in terms of platforming, so there's no flow. So I'll wait and see on it, but it's looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like it ticks all the right boxes. Yes, I've added it to my wish list to keep an eye on it.
Why not?
That's 2 you've added to mine. I managed to get my wish list down under 200 games before this Steam Nextfest. I'm already, before this, was up to 236. I'm now at 238. So
you'll be at 1,000 by the end of this episode.
Yeah. So I want to talk about 2 at once here. There's a reason I want to talk about 2 at once here. It's because, do you know how you always get people compare Overwatch with that? What was that one that failed around the time of Overwatch? Because everyone thought they was the same sort of game, but they weren't. Whatever that was.
Breach? No.
It was okay. I didn't mind it, but yeah, everyone else forgot about it. Even I forgot about it,
including me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like people compared like Blur and Split Second, even though they weren't really the same sort of game. There's 2 coming out around about the same time where this is going to happen, and that is Slope Crashers and Train Racers. Now, for clarity and a bit of context, when I was doing a PR internship to see if that's something I wanted to get into when my vision's okay, I did some PR work on Train Racers. So just for clarity, that comes into it if people want to make any like about what I say about it or anything like that. So just being open. Yeah. So first of all, let's do Train Racers first, and then I'll talk about it. So Train Racers is an online multiplayer, but also single player. It's a combat racer where you just basically go downhill on a train in the post-apocalypse, essentially. And it's got like multiplayer, so you can go up to, I think it's 15 or 16 friends. This is probably why I shouldn't do PR, because I can't even remember a game I worked on properly. Like 15 or 16 friends or something, and you can have like proper races with each other as you go flying down these mountains and whatever. Who has 15 or 16 friends? I don't know, but okay. But yeah,
not me.
No, I don't. So you get to do that, which is really good. Or you can do single player, which is more of a time attack based thing. It's got some really good mechanics to it, where you go close to things and you'll get a boost. You can do some sort of tricks and stuff like that, and you can drift and stuff, all different things to gain time or go faster, get boosts, find shortcuts, etc., etc. And the idea is just to be as quick as you can down to the bottom on the trays down basically down sand dunes. And yeah, it's a really, really fun game. The demo, I'm not going to lie, leaves me going, I don't know how much longevity it has, because with what's in the demo, I had my fill. But I know there is meant to be more to it than what's in the demo. It's really, really good, but I don't know if it's got the longevity at the moment. But I hope it does, because it's from the people who made Fogs, which is a fantastic game. And it looks charming as hell. It's really, really well made. It feels like it could be a complete game without sort of like, it doesn't feel like it's at demo stage in terms of how it plays, which is really good. And Slope Crashers, and the reason this will be compared is it's a cartoony downhill racing game, but on snowboards this time. You got a bunch of animals like chickens and ducks or whatever, I don't know, and you're racing downhill. Now, this has got multiplayer to it. It's got a single player element to it, but it's got more of a single player campaign to it than Train Racers has. Train Racers is more a online game that has single player elements, whereas Slope Crashers has more of a campaign. Now, the vibe I got from this when I played it, and I don't want to say it's going to be as good as this or it is this, but I got SSX vibes from this game. I like SSX Tricky in terms of how intuitive it was to play. So you've got these, like, you get given your snowboard and your chicken or whatever you've decided to dress up or to be on the snowboard, and basically you've got to get to the bottom as quick as you can, or there might be ones where you've got to get stunt combos and stuff like that. And and you battle with others if you're racing, or you just got, again, you try and get the best combo scores you can. And it's got grinds on it, it's got jumps, it's got fantastical levels, and it just all comes together really well. Now, it lacks polish compared to train racers, and definitely compared to like an SSX Tricky. It lacks polish, but that being said, there's something to it that I really, really like, and I'm not I'm buying this yet, or I will definitely try and get hold of this, but I think if this cooks in the oven long enough, this could be a really, really out of nowhere special game, because it's got something that's drawing me in, and I really like it.
Yeah, not played this one, but it looks really nice, and that would fill a SSX Tricky shaped hole in my heart if it was good enough. So yeah, I'll keep my eye on it.
Yeah, I say it's not SSX Tricky, and I don't want anyone to go into it going, oh, Brad said it's going to be SSX Tricky. It's not SSX Tricky. I'm getting those vibes from it. Whereas a lot of more snowboarding games since SSX went down the serious route, and look, all these proper, like, we try to be realistic. I don't want realistic snowboarding game. I can't snowboard in real life, and I don't care to learn. I just want to be able to throw myself down mountains.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that.
Have fun. Yeah. And one of the screenshots, if you do go onto this Steam page, one of the screenshots has you going down a snowy level, but there's also a city around it. So I'm just saying, it's got a bit SSX.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it now, and the whole styling. I mean, visually, it's not exactly the same, but it's definitely got that similar styling. A bit of neon, a bit of pizzazz, all that sort of stuff.
And you can see from the Jiffy things in there, that it's got a bit of that to it as well. It's kind of got that flow to it. But as I said, it could do with a few quality of life. Like, some of the out of bounds don't make any sense as to where they are, so it could do with maybe a few more markers and stuff like that. There's stuff they can all work on, but yeah, it's good. Keep an eye on it. I'm not saying this is a go out and buy. I would say, but keep an eye on it, and if you can, get hold of a demo and play it.
Cool.
Moving on, Stu.
So the next one I've been playing is called Dad by the Sword, and it's a difficult one to explain. It's like a first-person action adventure FPS style thing, roguelite. It's kind of like an FPS but with a sword kind of thing, with roguelike elements. It's a strange one. It markets itself as being a kind of piss take of dad's, like, dad activities and dad jokes. Hence Dad by the Sword. You're using dad as a replacement for dead, and it'd be so much better if it was like Fred by the Sword or Ted by the Sword or something. But anyway, dad. And but I've played a bit of it. I've not found anything funny in it at all yet. But anyway, it looks pretty. It looks nice. Kind of a little bit reminiscent of Risk of Rain 2. It's that kind of very kind of low poly, very colourful, high frame rate, cartoonish look to it. And you go around, you've got a kick move like you do in Duke Nukem. You've got a sword, and you can upgrade the sword and get different weapons and different items to pick up. At the moment, nothing at all about it grabs me. It just nothing new, and what it does is just pretty standard. And apart from it looking nice and supposedly having a lot of humour in it, it's just, there's nothing in there to latch onto, I could find. I'd be interested to find out what other people felt, but for me it was a bit of a bust, bit of a load of hot air, really.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. It's I tried this one, and because it sold itself also on, like, it's tactical dismemberment and stuff like that. I was like, a game that might allow you to do like proper like sword fighting and dismember parts of the body properly, and it's not. You hit near their head or their shoulders and the head pops off or their arm pops off. It's still quite sort of like, you hit near the area and that'll take this bit off. Whereas something tells me it's got like proper dismemberment in it. If I slice someone at the wrist, I slice through their wrist and their hand pops off, not their entire arm or anything like that. And I think visually it looks nice. I really like the art style. But yeah, apart from that, I wasn't drawn in by it at all.
Feels like feels like a tech demo, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's got like the Bulletstorm thing of you can like use the surroundings and everything and use that to get kills and stuff like that. But it just doesn't feel as fun as that. Bulletstorm, for all its issues, kicking someone into spikes and getting extra bonus scores for it was amazing, and it never got old. Whereas this, I think I'd done the first one. I went, oh, okay, where's the payoff? There wasn't any payoff for any of it, and it just, for a game that's trying to be quirky and fun and over the top, didn't have it. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it feels, if it's going to get anywhere near what it wants to achieve, it needs a lot more time being prepared. And I think one of the things they could do straight away is increase the amount of enemies, and that would be a really good step. But yeah, for me, no, that's a definite pass.
Now, if we're going to go down the theme of games that didn't really hit us, one I've spoke about before that I want to see a really good air traffic control game come out. Because based on our love for like mini metro and mini motorways and games like that. So there's a demo come out for a game called Flight Level, which is a air traffic control simulator, but apparently it's made by real radar controllers, which made me think, do you know what, really, really, really good. Looking forward to something like that. I put it on the Steam Deck and it's unplayable because the text is tiny and there's absolutely no options at all to increase it. Even on a bigger screen, nope, not possible. The text is tiny. And I get maybe they're looking at realistic radar screens. And this brings us back to, if anyone's listened to our most recent podcast or our upcoming podcast, depending on what order this goes out in, we talked about simulator games. And why things like Car Mechanic Simulator and like Power Simulator work is because they take something and try and bed it in realism, but make it accessible. Air Traffic Control Simulator, yeah, it looks realistic, and this is probably exactly what they do. But there's just no, it's not playable. You need to add something to it. All the lines mean nothing to me, and when your pop-up text and everything is so tiny, I can't learn. I don't know what's going on. It's just I wanted this to be good because the idea of having like Railroad, I think, is brilliant, where it takes the look and feel of train dispatching and turns it into a game that's based on that, and you feel like you're doing some train dispatching and you've got all the correct icons and that, and it's brilliant. And it was my game of, I want to say, not last year, the year before, even during early access. This could have been that, but for flying stuff, and it's just not. It's thoroughly disappointing, and I couldn't tell you even if it's any cop because I got 5 minutes into it trying to work it out, and I couldn't read anything, even using the zoom in function on the Steam Deck, even trying to put it onto the big screen, nothing, which was a shame because I'm all for a game like this, but not this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah,
and it's out this month, so I'm not expecting much to change.
That's a shame. Yeah, it really needs to be considered early doors for these things. The accessibility options,
and it's not even an accessibility issue. This is going to cause issues for people who have got perfect sight. It's just a really it's got a realistic UI. Great, we'll get a UI designer in because what's a good UI for your actual job is not always a good UI for having fun.
Absolutely true. Yep.
So, but yeah,
you got to gamify it, haven't you? Because it's a game.
To a degree, yeah. Make things a bit chunkier, or at least have some options to do something with it. You got like the pop-ups come up with the text, and there's so much real estate left. Let me choose what size I want that text.
Yeah.
Give me a warning. As I said, I've said this every single time. Pop a warning up. I've seen games do this. Pop a warning up going, if you go beyond this increase, it could mess the display up. Fine, let me decide that. Thank you for letting me know. I will see if I can get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunate. It's not there for me, this one.
Nope, fair play.
What's next?
So, the last one on my list, Oblivion Override, it's called. And it's it's roguelite because it's very... Brad wins. It's very difficult to avoid them if you want certain types of games. And yeah, no, it seems okay. So it's a little bit, in the way it controls, is a little bit like Dead Space. What am I talking about? Dead Cells, sorry. It's because it's all been about Dead Space lately. Yeah, a bit like Dead Cells. You can dash around both in the air and on the ground. That rhymes. I'm a poet. I'm not aware of it. You have a sword. You can upgrade your weaponry. It's all sounding very familiar to what I was talking about before. But it hasn't got throwback graphics. It's modern graphics. Seems okay so far. You get a lot of power-ups very quickly, but they only incrementally make you any better, which is not my favourite thing, and is one of the things about roguelites I'm not a big fan of, because it's that stat boost of like 10% here, 15% there. Doesn't have very much impact. You need to put in dozens of hours until you really feel the difference, kind of a thing. But the minute-to-minute gameplay seems quite good. Not much variety in the combat or the enemy types at the moment, but it's only a demo. So not a hard recommend, but I'm keeping my eye on it, and I will probably wait for reviews, and if they say that it has increased variety as you go on, then I might well pick it up.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm not sure. I've not played this one, but it wasn't one that when I was looking through the list initially it stood out to me. So I'll maybe wait to hear impressions of that one, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So was that your last one, did you say?
It is, yeah.
Right, so what I'm going to do, before I move on to what were my two games of the show, should we say games of the show? Yeah, let's say games of the show.
Yeah.
Because I can't separate these two based on what I've played now. Couple of honourable mentions of games you should be looking out for, and I'm just going to go through this. So Void Train looks really good. It's a base building survival open world thing that's got interdimensional gameplay. Looks really interesting. It's set on a train. Darkest Dungeon 2. If you played Darkest Dungeon, you know what it's all about. It's the second one to that. Plan B, Terrafrom, Sons of Valhalla. Both different types of sandboxy, resource management, strategy type games. Really, really good. You've got Planet of Lana said. I Am Future, which is a kind of like a relaxed, cozy apocalypse survival game, which plays really, really well. That's one to keep an eye out on. Xenonauts 2 is a XCOM-like sequel to Xenonauts. That's all you need to know, really. System Shock, yeah. We all know System Shock. Get that one on your wish list because it's System Shock. And there was another one. Dungeon Drafters, which is a deck building strategy dungeon crawler type thing, which is really, really good. A Lakeburg Legacy, which is a medieval management like not a city builder, but like a strategy RPG style game. They're just some of the ones that really stood out to me through there. And there's tons of others I haven't yet played, but keep a look around, and if we add any, we might add them onto the post for this and stuff like that. But yeah, some loads and loads of games. Steam Nextfest is always too many to get through. So
what were the two that you really stood out to you?
So the first one of these is Forklift Extreme, which should be of no surprise based on what I've been playing recently, which is basically a forklift game, forklift simulator style game, but with the art style of something like Art of Rally and Lonely Mountains. That kind of low poly-ish type thing. Yeah. And it's very much, it's a puzzle game. But against the timer. So you got to go in, you got to pick up a pallet, move the pallet, put it on a space where it needs to go, whether that's on a shelf, under a shelf, in a shelf, somewhere else on a shelf, not a shelf, somewhere on the floor, wherever. You start off just doing bog standard pallets. And each level has varying different degrees of difficulty and tasks and stuff like that. So it's a bit Tony Hawk's in that way, that you can go and repeat the level and do different things. So one level might be just complete the level. And then something else might be along the lines of complete the level in X amount of seconds. Another one is, you've got to collect the words fest. I think this is special just for the Steam Nextfest, because there's a Steam Nextfest based opening level. So you've got to collect the letters, and then you've got to collect the letters in a certain amount of time, and then there's some locked things that you must do. They might maybe find a hidden poster and stuff like that. And I say, it starts off with pretty simple palettes, and then you get other things. So you might get like barrels and that. You got to be careful how you move the barrels, because they've all got their own physics. And there is one bit in there that I seen on the video, I can't wait to actually get round to play this, is you get a long log type thing, or a long plate, and it's got things on the end of it, and you've got to drive your way around the level. And all I can think of is it reminds me of Kururin. And I'm like, yes, please. I don't care if it's just one level that's got this thing. Just like, yep, okay. It's got a bowling mini game in there as well, where you use your forklift to move the bowling ball, and then you've got to put it on a slope and knock down bowling pins. There's cars, and there's just so much going on in it. And it's really, really good, really relaxing and challenging at the same time. And yeah, absolutely brilliant. And that's out in March as well, so not long to wait.
Nice.
But yeah, get on that one. And the other one is a game I did not expect to work in any way, shape or form, but somehow does. Because when I describe this to you, you're not going to understand how it should work. Tape to Tape. It's a roguelite ice hockey game with Slay the Spire progression mechanics.
Wow.
So, bit of clarity. So, I just saw, like, I like ice hockey games, but there's not many decent ones out there. The NHL games have become really bad of late. 2K aren't in the market anymore. And there's been a few things out, like Bush League Hockey, which was just dreadful. So, there's not much choice. But I kind of wish-listed a whole bunch ages ago of different ice hockey games. And this one popped up in the Nextfest, and I've decided to give it a go. And it's become my game of the whole thing. So what you've essentially got here is an arcade ice hockey game. You've got to kind of build up this team. The progression is you've got to build up this team. You pick one main character, one main support character, and then you build your team with like a bunch of minion-style characters. And you start off... This is where the Slay the Spire pick comes in. You kind of pick a path, and you go through, and you might have to... One of the paths might take you, you've got to play a game of hockey and meet these conditions when you play it. Or you might get another one, which is, you picked up this bonus, and all different things like that. It's really, really good. And you kind of go, and you play these games, you progress. If you lose, it's game over, and you start again. Keeping some parts that you've already upgraded, such as maybe characters you've unlocked and things like that. So some of the levels might be, you've got to... it's in overtime, and you've got to make sure whoever scores the first goal wins. Or, this has happened, and you've got to do this, and there's this other task, and loads of different things that you've got to do to sort of like win each level, each game. Some might be a simple, win the game, which is really, really good. And what I think a game like this has to live and die on isn't all the surrounding stuff, it's how well does it play ice hockey. Especially one that wants to be an arcade ice hockey game, because they generally haven't been very good. But it's really good. It plays a really good game of ice hockey. It's got the movement down really well, so there's no sprint button or anything like that to it. So everyone kind of is based off their own attributes and everything. You've got like characters who are really good at shooting, characters who are really good at hitting, characters who are nimble, and all loads of different things like that go with it. The sense of ice movement feels really good. And one thing I always look at is with an arcade hockey game is, can I do certain things that you can see in proper ice hockey? So can you like cycle the puck and sort of like build up in the ends, like in the final third and stuff like that? And it's all there. So you can move the goalie by making certain passes. You could take the puck behind the net and pass it back down to the blue line to try and open up a good effort. And it may work. They might get saves. You get rebounds. There's all different power-ups to get. And it just plays so well. And it's got a cartoony style to it, which really, really works. And just for the game of hockey it plays, it's probably the best game of ice hockey I've had since 2015.
Nice.
It's just really, really, really good. And you can play this. You don't even have to be a fan of ice hockey. It's that good. Really good. Coming out at some point this year. The sooner the better, because I like everything about this.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting, actually. Unusual and, but fun, you know?
Yeah, and again, it leads into something we've always spoke about, is taking existing genres and worlds and doing something different with them. And this does this perfectly.
Sweet. Yeah. No, I'll definitely check that out. I'll get the demo, fire it up, see what we can do. Yeah.
Do. I recommend definitely, because I don't think it's got any multiplayer. I think it is just a single player only game. Oh, no, hang on. I'm looking at the Steam page now. And it has shared split screen PvP and co-op. So, tell you what.
Ooh.
That I didn't realise. I might have to look into that. I just looked at it from the single player stuff. So, yeah.
Nice.
And to give you an idea, on the similar to games you played, it picks Curse to Golf and Pixel Cup Soccer as games you might like if you might like this if you played this sort of game. So there you go.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll get that demo.
But that isn't it. You know, they're the ones we've played and picked up. I've probably missed a couple that I've played and stuff like that. Just so many. The Steam Nextfest is too short. But I get why it is as short as what it is. Because I think if they was to run this for a month, it wouldn't get the attention. Whereas you've mentioned a couple of games I've not played. I'm like, probably won't play those now, but I'll wishlist them. Whereas I think if you ran this for a month, it'd be very easy to go, I'll scrap this one now. And the Steam Nextfest is brilliant. I love it. What's there, 3 a year, I think? 4 a year? Every quarter they do it?
Is it? Yeah. No, it's a great duration. It's just right to get your interest peaked, but without you getting sort of overwhelmed or bored of it, you know? Yeah, it's a really good idea.
Yeah, and I've always loved demos. I remember when I got the Tony Hawk's demo on the front of PlayStation magazine, and I just played that for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, because I couldn't afford the actual game, but it just had that first level in full and just high score chasing on that for weeks and weeks on end. Nice. It's just going through this, like I'm going through it now, and there's like loads of stuff I've missed that I've not played, and there's Lust Academy if you fancy a bit of a How's Your Father type gaming.
Nah, you're all right.
No, there's been quite an increase in those adult sexual games. Yeah. I've got you a review code of one of those, Stu. I hope you're happy with that.
No, please. No, thank you.
If people are into that, fine. I'm glad they're catered for as well, but I don't know why they're all of a sudden all over my Steam page.
I know, it's bizarre. Yeah, I'm the same as you. I don't mind other people playing them, but no, thank you. Not for me.
But yeah, that's Steam Nextfest. Just so many good games. I was just going, literally, I'm scrolling down the list still, and just loads. How many discs would this be on the front of the PlayStation magazine?
It'd be more disc than paper, wouldn't it? It'd just be like, plastic.
But yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant. Keep an eye on the games you said. Listen, if there's any that we've not said that you really liked, stick it on the Twitter. Let us know what you liked, or on the Discord or whatever. But I'll tell you what I'll do, because I'm not very good at this sort of stuff. I'm going to shut up. Going to let Stu take us out. You've had enough of me. You don't need to demo me anymore. Stu, I'm going to shut up now.
No worries. Yeah, so just enjoy your gaming and follow all of our regular content. Hope you enjoyed the special, and we'll speak to you very soon.